Hello to the people rewatching. So right now this is a surprise live, so there's no one live yet. We'll wait for people to come in. In the meanwhile, we will start a Discord. What up, Robbie? First one in. Here we go. We will Dex data are now putting individuals. Amazing. Okay, things are moving in incredible pace. And we're going to start the stage on Discord. If you guys are on Discord, you can come join. Do Simulation Talk 317. There we go. Stage is now officially open. What up, everybody? Slowly people will trickle in because it will hopefully notify people. What up, Jules, Shane, Natasha, Casey, brother? How are you, brother? Ellipsian. The whole crew is here today. Roger, Charlotte. Wow, great. Turn up today. What up, Ellipsian? Okay. So, Anali, what up on site? So, in addition to doing a surprise live, sometimes they happen. They happen mostly because if I see that I'm ready to stream and I'm going to notify everybody, but they usually happen if I all of a sudden have a moment to stream and I know it's going to be much more difficult later. Can't notify you. Gotta do it in that moment, and that's when it happens. TGIF baby, what up, Rough? Love Fridays, Casey. So good to see you, my brother. So yeah, so that the price we pay is that there's not a lot of people in the beginning, and I'm surprised even our incredible moderator Guru. So he can't notify people, and that's where we end up. We just wait a little bit, but it's okay. Sometimes you got to do that. I don't have a choice sometimes. If you guys want to help our Twitch channel grow, if you want to follow from there, it's LaserX83 on Twitch. Let's see how long it will take to fill up in terms of viewership. What up, Julie? Wait, Gyul. How do you pronounce that? Good to see you too, Munoz. Sean is in the house. How you doing? Did not mean to fumble your name. I hope it's okay. Okay, so with all of that being said, we'll slowly jump in. Surprise live, baby. Amazing, Carter. Also, just so you know, Carter, I was about to text you and then I was like, went on a live, but our friend had a wonderful session today. He texted me and thanked me. I told him that it was with the help of wonderful people. We're really helping some good souls climbing out of deep holes. So thank you so much, brother, for always being there and always being so generous and supportive. This is we did good. We did very good. Okay. Active correcting imbalance information never ending. Not sure what you mean by that, but I would love to dive into it if you want to clarify. Oh, you had a comment before. You said consciousness is measurable in the ACRM. Wait. Oh, okay. From physics. Okay. That's fluid dynamics. You're talking about ACRM like in fluid dynamics, right? Not really sure what you mean by that specifically, but if you want to clarify. Oh, mistypes. Okay. What up, Jessica? Agent Revolution. Great handle on Twitch. Yeah, if you guys want to follow on Twitch and help the channel, LaserX83 on Twitch. Yeah. It'll be very, very beneficial for the channel there if you guys jump in there. We're picking up people fast. That's good. AI collapsed too quickly. Again, I'm not sure what you mean. What up, Jorge? Ella. Wolfie. Okay, so in the spirit of diving deeper into human topics, talking about all things human, what it's like to have a human experience in this wonderful simulation, I would like to encourage questions and or directions of investigation that are more along the lines of, hey, this is what it feels like to be us doing this. This is what it feels like to be us doing this. And I want to dive deeper and deeper into these topics of, like how people experience the world, what that means to them. And that might involve even conversations that are a little bit more of the personal relationship flavor, interpersonal relationship flavor. We're okay with whatever, because undoubtedly, of course, we will always end up somehow still talking about some of the sciencey and philosophical and technical things because that's what we do. But if we at least try, we can have more of these human-oriented conversation, which is not a bad idea. I enjoy them. Consciousness is ongoing correction. Okay. These are, so just so you know, on site, great handle, that these kinds of comments, I know you're limited by keys, by how much you can type, and I appreciate that fact. But when you're just putting things this way, the way it comes across is very confusing because I can kind of maybe guess what you want to say by this, as in you're saying that you have some awareness that consciousness is going through correction, but these are just kind of like too short to really be interactive with because you're just putting a claim on the table. Maybe you want to clarify a little bit as to why you think that, how you know that, what makes you say that, what is correcting consciousness. Be a little bit less vague because it will be easier for me to take your comment and actually run with it and talk about it. Also, you are more than welcome to come to Discord and share your ideas with audio. You can come to the stage that is open on our Discord now, and I can bring you up and you can chat about it. So the link to our Discord is on the main page on YouTube. You can find it there. And I see that we already have RNS Laser and Carter and Agent Revolution and Daniel here. If you guys want to chat, again, my policy is even if you just want to maybe chat at some point, please raise your hand and I will bring you up. And you're not obligated to talk. You can absolutely just stay quiet. But it's kind of cool that people are kind of like just sitting in the background, but they're ready to speak if they want. Daniel raising his hand. Wonderful. And then from there, we can either talk or not talk and can investigate. If you're going to unmute Daniel, then we'll chat. If not, then just basically feel free to unmute whenever you guys want. You're on stage.
Hi.
What up? How are you, brother?
One sec. There is a reverb. Is that coming from your side?
Let me check. So input device, MacBook. Output, MacBook.
Let's try again. Maybe it's solved now. Yeah. Okay. I don't hear it. Do you?
No, I don't have a reverb.
Okay, then it's all right.
Wonderful.
What's up?
How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you. I'm a bit tired, but
yeah, you have a late hour over there.
Yeah. This is even rare for me. So
that late?
Yeah, I go late into the nights, but like this is even more extreme than I usually. Yeah, more extreme. Yeah.
No, I think
I cannot even speak, man.
I think, but I'm pretty sure that you were joining at these hours.
Yeah, but like I stayed up for a longer period of time than I usually do, so that is what I meant.
You're in just so everybody knows, you're in Hungary. What time do you guys have
Yeah.
there right now? Close to the morning?
It's wait. Yeah, I need a little bit of time. Then I usually can speak eventually, but it's a bit glitchy, or I don't know how to say it. It's like I cannot speak for a few minutes, then I get into it.
Of course.
So let's figure out the clock. It's 2:30
Okay.
in the morning, or
Yeah, not too
Yeah.
bad. It's okay. Yeah. Did you want to raise something, or you just want to hang until something comes to you?
Well, I have seen the web page update.
Okay.
It's awesome. It looks really cool, and so I have seen that you sorted out, or uh, like premiered the protocol section
Mm-hmm.
where people can send in their experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right with that? Right?
Correct. You're talking about Veilbreak AI, or you're talking about something on Code of Reality?
Yeah, Veilbreak.
Yeah.
Veilbreak AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a completely separate website, but yeah, exactly. It's incredible work that Carmelo and Carter were working on, and it's basically the architecture is Carmelo. The managing of this whole thing is Carter and Carmelo, and basically it's going to be a platform where all the stuff that people tend to come on and ask a lot of questions about and exchange ideas, it's all going to be in one place, structured, so people can come in and already see all the kinds of experiments that people have done, what was not done, and they can add their own without the need to even share their identity. So they can basically put in all the information without, they can be either anonymous or not anonymous. It's up to them. They can pull all the information about exactly how they ran the experiment. They can fork it to do some other variation of the experiment. And the goal is, and I think that the website already has this functionality, is that all of that is going to be accompanied by an ability at the back end of it to then also produce papers directly from it. So when there's enough information that can produce a white paper, we can just utilize that information and just literally print out a white paper directly from the platform, and just keep going that way. Completely open source, and people can onboard and share ideas, and also have full access to the knowledge that we have. So that's what this is.
That sounds awesome, and it looks awesome. And so I think it has all the things one needs when anyone wants to send in an experience. So that anonymous, or how do you say it?
Anonymously,
aspect
exactly.
of it is really cool and is needed, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, awesome. And so you approach it in that way, that you sort of like divide it into two, in that sense.
In what way?
Completely different sections, core and Veilbreak AI.
I guess you can say that. I think that ultimately core is the overarching project itself of everything, and it's also the official entity. So there's a company called Code of Reality, but Veilbreak currently is more just it's not just, but it is the technical project within Code of Reality. So you can think of it that Veilbreak is nested within Code of Reality, within core. Yeah, and I think it's a necessary outline or separation, because everything has to do with just the general idea. A lot of it is more flowy. Everything has to do with public relations, how you communicate, all that stuff, and content, and all of this stuff. And I feel like Project Veilbreak is more just the attempt to crack whatever is going on from a technical standpoint. I find it very helpful, actually. to keep them as defined as separate things, even though they're obviously flowing into one another.
Well, I have to agree. I think that is the right approach. So it's sort of an embedded thing, Railbreak, and the major image or the front image is core, which is also this overarching bridging network. Awesome. Agent Revolution cannot speak because of me, so
Oh,
I
he
would
cannot
like
speak
to
because of you.
let him do that.
I don't think it's because of you. And by the way, I always enjoy
Okay.
when you come on. I think it's just muted because he's muted. Agent Revolution, to make it super clear, you can always unmute whenever you want, and you can.
Yeah, no, you weren't blocking me at all, my man. You keep on going. I just wanted to be here in case something of value comes up that I can.
Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Daniel, your energy, even when we just have a general chat, is always wonderful. So you're always welcome to just come and hang on in the background, even. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. I know that you're very you're you're very direct and very cut to the chase. So if you're saying you like it, it means that it really is. People did really good work. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate that too. Yeah, I'm struggling with the language, so my attitude is not really proper because I'm actually fighting this language barrier constantly.
I think your English is superb. So and the way you think is always very refreshing. I really love it, and I can totally understand how when we're tired, it's a little harder to pull off, especially when it's not your first language. I can only imagine your control of your own language. Do you do you tend to do a lot of public stuff nowadays in your country?
I used to.
That's why I'm asking
In
you.
the last few years, I sort of changed my approach and went to the back end. That is how you say. So I'm editing more or all the time, basically, editing, coding, all sorts of stuff, but behind the desk, And before that time period, before that last few years, I was in front or in front of so I was speaking a lot. Yeah, that's
Yeah. You were on TV, all that stuff. What? How do you view your passion? Do you even think about that?
how do I view.
Yeah. What is your perception of your own passion? So, like, is there one continuous thread between all the stuff, all the things that you do? In other words, I mean, if you have to look at all the stuff, because you're very capable in so many different ways, what is the thing you really enjoy the most? And what do you think is in the middle of this? So I'll give you an example. I really enjoy engaging with people especially when it's like a really nice back and forth about these deep topics. It's fun. And I really enjoy thinking in technical ways about the science part of what we're investigating. I really like solving puzzles. But at the center of it, I my main, I guess, thing that I see kind of like the central mission is to re-excite humanity about the future and about our potential. That's kind of how I view it. Do you ever think about these grandiose kind of things hovering and how you play a role in it?
Oh, well, I would copy paste that whole chunk. So I think similar things. And what came into my mind when you asked that question is that I think I really like I'm curious in general. Maybe that is the way we can approach this. Yeah, I like to uh, look at rare stuff and popular mainstream things too. So uh, yeah, I'm interested in general in, and I'm wanting to discover life and have a holistic, or not necessarily the right word, but you know, discover or explore all territories of life I can have access to, and creating things in general. So uh, arts, creation of objects or activities which are niche. Yeah, I'm a curious guy, and information and imagery or visuals, and also the sound. So all aspects. I cannot really reduce it. Maybe let me approach it again, and maybe we can get to something more tangible. So there is this exploration aspect to look into all territories of life, and like experience that, you know, other people's lives, uh, what they have to say or communicate, their experiences, and what they can bring to life in their creations, and the messages there that they convey. Also, I like to make things too, and in the art of creation, I wanted to try myself to. So basically, yeah, I cannot really narrow it down. I am an adventurer maybe, and uh, a person who likes to create stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I, the way that I view you, and you tell me if it resonates. The way that I've so far observed and absorbed what you do, because we spoke in private a few times, and you showed me the stuff that you create, you shared, you make music, you create visual art, both digitally and otherwise, and you have presence both kind of like in the public, and also you're behind the scenes, like you said, you're editing. So it seems like you're really exploring what is this thing all about, and what innovation we can bring in each and every one of these domains. And if I have to make a wild guess, because I do identify a slight, a somewhat similar imprint or wiggle in you that I identify in myself, which is that, at least I know for me, and tell me if this part resonates. It seems like you are too looking for what is that common denominator that allows that these creations to happen in all these domains. What is that thing that is doing that, and how it expresses itself through us? Now, it might not be that analytical for you. I don't know, but it seems to me that you touch these things. You're good at them, and you make something happen. And the only way you can make something happen that is of a certain caliber or level is, it first of all, you really have to enjoy it to some degree. Otherwise, you can't really bring yourself to stay with it long enough until you get to a level that is good enough. But also, there's a it's the flavor of it, the kind of it that you make. Like, if I look at your visual art, if I look at your music, there's a uniqueness there. There's a note that is deeper than what it just appears and meets the eye. Would you say that you do notice that in yourself, that you are looking for this common denominator, or you don't really think about that?
well, I totally agree. To be honest, I have to reapproach uh,
Okay.
uh, the whole thing once again. Sorry, I'm really struggling here, but maybe we can divide it into two sections. And basically, when I spoke a lot, and did all those stuff which was not near a desk and near editing. Um, it was mostly surface level focus, but behind the scenes I had all these interests you have, which is this your yearning, this openness towards looking back, trying to find the source, or the roots of meaning, and where we in general are coming from, the spirit, the agency, the root of agency itself, inspecting myself, observing myself and others, and so there is that, and that was behind the scenes. So I basically was shy, hid it in the past, in those times, but in the last few years, I focused on that hidden aspect of my life, and I really embraced it, and pushed the focus to that from the surface level, embracing of life, of what happens, of activities. And so in the last few years, the world really opened up for me when it comes to experience, or not really my experience, but what I was able to see through others and what they shared. And so basically now I have these two sections, and maybe two identities nested in one, in that sense that I have that completely different persona from the past, which is also still remaining to some degree, but I have this really depth, full or deep side, which is, I think, you would be most likely resonating with, which is what is core about this investigation directed towards finding meaning, or power, not power, but the energy, the source of energy and format in ourselves, and what can be behind us, or maybe is shared with what is behind us, or above us, or around us, what the whole story is, and what the case is for these stories we have and we are living through.
That's a really deep point, actually. First of all, let me just make a couple of acknowledgments. Chris, how are you, brother? And also, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Chris, one of our moderators, is just gifted 10 memberships for people on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, can go right now. We're streaming there as well on Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts. And sometimes one of them, Chris, is gifting people memberships, which is very gracious of you, brother, and very... I really appreciate that. It helps the channel. And you guys can always join, because it also gives you access to our weekly lives, aside from the daily lives, which are for members only, in which we dive much deeper into topics, and they're a lot of fun. So, just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you so much, brother. And I see all you guys' questions. I'm going to approach them in a moment. And one more thing, if you guys do want to help our Twitch grow, go to Twitch now, and our handle there is LaserX83. LaserX83. So highly recommend you guys go there. What up? Yeah, so the point you made is actually super, super deep, because this solidarity that you're mentioning between our stories. So like we all have our own version of what we think is going on, but there's something about the exploration into the depth that ties us together. The second we go deeper into these things, it's almost like things start converging. And there's these similarities in the hero's journey. Like the second you start moving, it doesn't matter if you're a dancer or a software engineer or a scientist, or just somebody who's selling insurance. It doesn't really matter. The second you start pushing the envelope beyond what is familiar to everyone, there are these like almost like there's a feeling attached to that exploration that if you talk to somebody else from a completely different domain of life, they would still and if they, given that they also look at life and investigate life in that way, they will recognize that there's a solidarity, there's a truth there that we all can aggregate around, and I actually find that really beautiful. There's a camaraderie there. It's almost like we're in the trenches together around these things. I really like that vision, actually. One of the things here, one second. I think Code of Mind Tech was asking, there was something here. Two affirmations and subconscious programming implying that's involved in affecting the core. So far, this is actually one of my early conversations with Daniel, funny enough, the guy who was just talking. If you guys don't know, his name is Daniel. And
Hi.
yeah. So one of our early conversations, I don't know if you probably remember, like when we actually spoke on the phone, was around this. Like, what is really the role of creating our own reality? What does it really look like? What are the implications of this? Is it possible that it's all of it? And if it's not all of it, what determines what part of it we kind of execute forward as our own choices, and what actually happens just by itself? And I have a suspicion that obviously there's some truth to that, but I don't know if the real truth is that it's that clear cut, simply because of all the I always repeat it, but it's always the obvious things, right? You can't walk through the wall, you can't fly, but also in relationship to the code, at least so far, everything we ever tried with attention, trying to influence it, emotion, even music, nothing really makes a difference to the code. So, but hopefully now with Veilbreak AI, we will be able to get at it faster, because people will be able to, I think, make faster progress just by being aware of what was already tried, what was done, and just pick up from there, versus needing to, we have to like repeat everything again and again and again, basically. I've been shy all my life as well, but I'm growing out of. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, sorry. Well, you mentioned the hero's journey, which is really, that grabs the individual aspect of things, and that is really personal, and that is maybe the case or the story one can or people can optionally like, you can take that up as the big quest of your life, and that gives you phases and these stations where you stop. There is this heroes, or there are these heroes journey models, which explains that different phases tend to occur to people in very different circumstances. So, but at the same time, this is very personal to each and every one of us, this hero's journey and its phases, if one is brave enough to take part in that. But there are people who don't view that as the backbone of life, the hero's journey.
That's true. Do you think it's possible that they don't know they're missing it, or do you think it's just simply not for everybody?
Yeah. I mean, we are probably very close in that stance too. So maybe I'm wrong in that, but I think you find that very significant, the hero's journey.
Yes.
And you believe in that.
What up, Blake?
Frequently appearing aspect of life for very different people all around the world. So you would not like to ignore that, right?
Yeah.
Or think about it not necessarily being the main frame of people's stories.
So it's interesting, as you were talking, actually, my friend Blake, who just came on, Blake Builder, everybody should follow him on TikTok and Instagram and everywhere else. BLAKE THEBILDER, Blake the Builder, and he's actually a UFC fighter. So as you were talking, he came up to the live, and that actually kind of like immediately snug that thought into my head. So in order to do what Blake does, that's like a very extraordinary thing, right? And it's not a coincidence. I mean, he's been pushing and driving this thing his whole life. But in addition to that, he's also very kind to other people. He likes to encourage other people to be better, and he does this on a regular basis. He always posts these things, like his routine in the morning and how he does it, and then how he engages with people. I don't know, and I really wonder: is it just that when people have a similar perception of, like, the hero's journey, right? That is kind of like one of the being a fighter is one of the highest hero's journeys, because you're literally putting everything on the line, including risking your life, really, on a regular basis. And the only way through it is that if you put everything on the table. Now, there's degrees of this, right? The people can still have like a very high octane achievement kind of life, but they don't risk themselves like physically this way. Maybe they make financial risks, maybe they make social risks, whatever it is. But I really wonder if you just find yourself in a bubble of people that think relatively similar about this, what is the meaning of all of this, which is like trying to like do better in all of it, or and because you have this mindset, so you kind of find yourself in these circles, or is it that thing is looking for everyone and it's just waiting for them to understand it? Like, I really wonder this. Like, I wonder if there's a section of the population that maybe is just there, not just is the wrong word, but they are there to kind of create a general tapestry of structure that does not require these very extravagant drives. Because if that would be the case, if everything is emphasized, then nothing is emphasized. And in order to have something that is outstanding, this is a point that Alan Watts used to make. In order for something to be outstanding, you also have to be something that is substanding. So maybe that's a real thing that I don't know. Like, maybe there's actually tremendous value for people just to really enjoy kind of gliding and having the simpler things in life and just kind of hovering in the background, the gentler ways. So then whatever life is unfolding as can be as outstanding as it can be. And they're kind of like the two different roles in reality. What up, Dimitri?
Yeah, maybe the hero's journey is a very natural thing, because it really, you can have very different contexts and circumstances, and you can almost like step into that aspect of life and pick it up and select the difficulty, almost like, not really, but you can really participate in your own hero's journey. And if you, maybe that dynamic is like that if you really participate and you really decide or make the choice to see the code, or to take on those extra weights, you can maybe unfold more for yourself experience wise. So that hero's journey sort of rewards you for taking the risk if you survive the way.
So literally,
you agree? Or
yeah, but then what would not surviving look like? You mean perish physically?
Well, yeah, all kinds of accidents and obstacles can occur. Maybe so if we agree on that stance that there is a guidance attached as a early or pre-reward of that process, then you are a bit shielded within that quest you take on, which is then labeled as that hero's journey. Mm-hmm. So maybe you will not perish necessarily, but life has risks in it, and when you are taking on extra risks, it almost feels like there is also a larger probability within that to fail along the way, fail that quest.
Yeah, you're willing to jump. You're willing to
Yeah.
jump higher. So by the definition of how high you're willing to jump, you might, if you clear the jump, you will end up higher, basically, in some space of measurement. Like you try to take a bigger risk in business. You try to take a bigger risk achieving something physically. You try to take a bigger risk in how far you can go in your in your influence on society. Things like this. Like if you didn't try that, of course you can't succeed because you didn't even try. But if you tried and you managed to succeed, then, well, by the fact that you tried that thing, if you succeeded it, now you're there. And that requires I guess more of a risk factor. To me, so what I always get back to is what it feels like to go through each moment like that. Because very often, let's say you chose the lone wolf journey, which isn't easy, but in a different way, right? Like being alone a lot, even for people who like it, is sometimes can get challenging because you have to do a lot of things by yourself. Let's say you chose to live in the middle of the jungle by yourself, or that kind of, what seems to not be like as higher risk, because what are you risking? Well, well, first of all, if you have to figure a lot of things out by yourself, that's definitely like a physical risk for sure. Less infrastructure around you to help you out with things. Thank you so much for the gift. Roll up with, but ultimately the feeling of fulfillment, the meaning, is what drives the decision to do that. Just like it is in becoming a UFC fighter, or trying to like bring something about that was never here before, or like really anything. And I think that everything is a version of that. It's just that the more day-to-day versions of that, they're very obscure and small, and it's harder to see them, but they are that. They are the meaning, the thing that gives you substance to keep going. If it's taking care of your kids, if it's things that are more invisible, in terms of the social structure, because it's just everybody kind of going through it. The putting the extra time in whatever work you're doing, even if it's the simplest work, like I don't know, like selling insurance or whatever. I don't know why I keep repeating selling insurance today. But in order to achieve a certain quota, you still have to put in extra work, and that gives you meaning because you succeeded in something. It's not necessarily that it's nice if you get bonuses and stuff, but it's the fact that you made an effort. It gives you there's a competence thing attached to it, which gives you the meaning factor. But it's always meaning. It's always, you're looking for that meaning. And I always wonder, can you have a completely fulfilling life just by not trying to really achieve anything, but just kind of gliding through? I think I met a person like that once, but I haven't met a lot of people like that. They truly are, no matter what, they just kind of like glide through life. They don't really care that much, and they seem to be completely fulfilled.
This is a reductive image. What I said, that it is considered surface level when we compare it to the hero's journey, for example, which is like full of deep risks or risk taking and deep meaning and yearning for that depth in life. So compared to that, I made sort of this parody or caricature or seeing missing that big quest as surface level behavior, but it really isn't, in that sense that if I really analyze what values I agree with, then what I think I agree with is that all aspects of life are, or not all, but most, can be enjoyed, and we would be making a mistake when we force our preferences on other people. in that sense, I cannot really judge other people for not being interested in hero's journey and this deep thinking and all these sorts of stuff. It might be just like when we compare it to liking music, it might be that hero's journey is like classical music,
Mm.
and some people just really like pop, and there is no. So I'm not really confident in making that value judgment or making differentiations along that angle. That, for example, just because something is not deep enough, it's less valuable. In my eyes, in my preferences, this hero's journey and this deep meaning search was really significant. But if I can choose, and there are situations when I think we are a bit covered by our emotions and we cannot really control our judgment. But if I can control myself to the fullest degree and I can admit my true preferences, then what I don't like to do is I don't want to judge other people based on my values. But I cannot always control myself, and I sometimes project my worldview on others. And selecting that label was maybe already that to some degree, considering it as surface level. There might be no mistakes in that. Enjoying a nice beer on a beach and enjoying the sunshine with the family or with friends. In those moments, light-hearted situations and programs, activities, there might be the same degree value. It is just, I think you and me and people who are gathering here, usually, there is this ungrabbable need or wanting to explore more facets than what is available without the struggle or risk taking.
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, I also enjoy the simple moments of when you just walk along the beach with the family. It's really nice. I actually did it yesterday. It was amazing. I think all of it is filling a role. I guess the norm, which I think for most people is actually not that. Like it's not like this crazy hero's journey. And I agree with you. Sometimes we do impose our own perception on that. And by the way, to the Joshua, how are you? Joshua said, if we all watched the Donald Hoffman new interview with Andre Dokum, I don't know how to pronounce it. Maybe he said that Donald Hoffman said that he had a breakthrough, which would be interesting to know what it is. And yeah, I agree with Sean. Would you like to summarize it for us? Like, what is the breakthrough? Or he just said that he has a breakthrough? Because I believe he did say it before. But I wonder what the breakthrough is. It will be very interesting to learn. I just pulled up the conversation, so I'll just share the link here, I guess. I haven't watched it, obviously. I don't know. Last time that he made that statement, I watched the full conversation, and I did not see him mention any actual breakthrough. But maybe now he does, and he has more to say, and I'm very interested. And one more reminder, if you guys want to help our Twitch grow, you go to Twitch, and my handle there is LaserX83. LaserX83 on Twitch. If you guys want to go and follow from there, it helps a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think we basically agree fully. Like, there's something really. I like that everybody exploring the world through what they really like, and actually not imposing what they. The optimal world for me would be the kind of world that everybody are doing exactly what they really love. So when we do get a little bored with whatever it is that we're doing for a little while, we can always go and visit somebody else's world and see what it's like because they created something they really like. It's fascinating. I guess traveling is a little bit like this. You get to explore a whole new world that you're not familiar with. But I'm imagining this on like a cosmic scale. You could like go to like other planets or stars, or just like into somebody else's mind and watch what they made. I think there's some games like that, right? What's it called? Earth 2 or something. There was something like that, right? Where people just build their own little corners. But I think it's like a very low graphic thing. But imagine entire virtual reality worlds where people just create their own worlds, and then you can go and visit their world. I mean, that just to see what they came up with, what their imagination did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shared work, so
Yeah.
you can approach it like this. So for example, you allocate your time that way, that you miss those type of situations and moments and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we have this beautiful technology all around us, we can actually view the world that we share through others' eyes too. And if we happen to sacrifice some moments or situations, we can kind of experience it through others.
Yeah.
Share that.
I think you're right. That's exactly the world we live in, and this is why live and let live is so important. Because if you're going to drown somebody else's vision, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to one day observe and enjoy what they would have come up with if you wouldn't stop them from trying to do what they want to do. Obviously, given that it doesn't hurt other people, but that's the beauty of things. Also, I know that today we're having more of a chit chat and less of the comments, but I do want to acknowledge everybody who just came. Also, Ciela, and who else is here? Mikulus, how are you? And I think somebody who said from Paraguay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, on site. Wait, no. Peace to all entities, ETs. Yeah, Mikulus, that's wonderful energy. I feel like when you seek self-reflection, you go through the hero's journey. Yeah, absolutely. The hero's journey always includes some part of it that is all alone. Basically, every hero in history had to go through some period in which they just spent a lot of time with themselves. And I think it's an indispensable part of it, because you have to really find what is it that drives you versus the stuff that the world drives you to do. C5, okay. You got it, Mikulus. And Guru, how are you, brother? Oh, don't worry. You're always on top of it, man. This is like once in a while, it's totally okay. You're beyond amazing in this stuff. Perhaps Machine Mind saying perhaps the hero's journey is the more rewarding path because it offers higher novelty to the system that is recording the simulation. I think that's a very, very correct and a very deep point. I think that maybe the depth of the meaning that we feel has direct correlation to how much novelty we brought for the universe to experience, because the universe can only experience itself through us. The more we allow ourselves to explore these novel states, we get rewarded because we allowed for that novel state to be experienced, for the universe to add it to the grid, to the what the universe is learning about what's possible. I think that's actually exactly right, to be quite honest. What up, Bree? Everybody on TikTok today. Makore, roll up wise. You got an open. By the way, if you want to name yourself by name, you're more than welcome to. Row. It's funny. Dimitri's in the house. Because I know I was ignoring TikTok for quite aggressively today. Not on purpose. Just maybe stupid question, but are you maybe singing? No, unfortunately, I do not. Buddy, I was trapped and I don't know what that means. Okay. What's up, Kai and Kate? Glad you're here as well, Chris. Interesting stuff on the hero's journey. Oh, Okay, I thought you would have a comment. Well, thank you, High Tech. The purpose of life: to live a worthwhile existence. Try to do something good and selfless every day. It might matter. Good. Yeah, that's a good way to live. I would agree with that. What up, Jessica? Okay. So let's see. What else can we touch? What else can we touch on today? Wild men.
Can I ask you something then?
Of course, always.
So there are people who view life as that we are in this evolutionary stage where we can label ourselves as a human, Homo sapiens sapiens, and there are no extra dimensions to it other than that we are humans.
Mhm.
But you mentioned several experiences or models in which you view the world as something having several other layers embedded or tagged on top of what we call humanity.
Mhm.
And so when it comes to how you experience life, as in, if I would ask to tell about you or your experience, how you sort of manage that. So how do you view yourself in that picture? Human with extra buffs? Are you something else? So, for example, when you did, when you had a simpler life with conventional habits versus or compared to what it is now, which is this rich, beautiful, very extra, exotic type of thing. So, what is your experience now, and where do you place your experience within those exotic pictures in or images or models or world views in which we have these entities which are very supernatural almost?
That's a really good question. I think that the way that I just see, I don't really see it in these. So I don't. First of all, okay, let me make sure that I understand your question. Are you asking about like what do I see that have changed from, let's say, when I was less in the public arena to now that I'm a little bit more in the public arena?
So, for example, having this whole network and this ambition around which we gather today, this is very special, exotic, and we are really investigating the extra layers in life, which is, for example, a century ago was not accessible to any degree, one can argue. And so when it comes to your experience, how you view your life, and I thought that it might be an easier way to grab a hold of that image, what I'm trying to
No, I think
to.
I think I
So-
understand.
So okay, let me try it again. So struggling with the language still.
You're doing
Okay.
great.
So when you did physical stuff and when you had a more conventional life, you had a very human experience. These aspects, which core tends to highlight, was not really in your life, and now they are. And when you try to connect that with your experience, how can you speak about it? How are you connecting it to
So
how you view your world now, which is very different to where it was when it was very conventional and human?
You know that, okay, I think I understand the thrust of the question, and so I will just answer in the way that makes sense to me, and you tell me if it touches on it. I think that what happened, I think that I was always this way. It's just that somehow what I believed as a possibility became a reality, and I don't know how to account for that, to be quite honest, because it's a tricky one, because you kind of have to ask yourself, does it always come to fruition, or it only comes to fruition if you do something, like if there's something there that you like, you pass some kind of a test, or you move the right thing in the room in the quest, and then some door opens. But I think the thing that changed is, like, I always, since I was a little kid, since I can remember myself, these questions were always with me. I'm pretty sure that you're very similar to that. Like, since I could remember myself, I was standing in the kitchen and I was just kind of looking in the room, and I was just like, what is this? Like, what? Why me? What is me? Why me and not someone else? Like, what would it be like to be someone else? What does that even mean? Like, I remember I was 5, I think, or 6. Like, it always how my brain worked. It's my resting state. What's outside of the universe? What does it all mean? Like, all that stuff. And I think at a certain point, I'm sure that a lot of people have these thoughts when they're younger, and at a certain point, it's kind of beaten out of you, because you're being convinced by everybody around you that, like, okay, come on, let's get real. You got to find a job. You got to do this. You got to do that. And that's the thing that closes maybe the possibility of it actually becoming the real thing. One thing that Terrence once said, he said, it's interesting. If you set up your life as a seeker, you will find. You will find beyond your wildest dreams. But you have to set up your life as a seeker. I think that what really changed, I always lived inside of myself. I always lived this life of, like, wonder and, like, what does it all mean? And even when I would live, I guess, what you would call the more normal life, I still always gravitated towards the really strange and the really weird. And I explored things even when they were very uncomfortable for me. Like, I would look at, like, I would hang out around people that I don't quite understand, and sometimes they would even be like, I was like, what is that? What is going on in there? Like, I don't even understand what that means. So I always allowed myself to explore the really strange and the really weird. This is maybe why I love psychedelics so much, because they're really weird. And at a certain point, there was a very decisive moment where I changed everything. And maybe there the thing forked into what it is today. I don't know. But I basically just, stopped everything I was doing until that moment. And I jumped. I just threw away everything I had. I spoke about this in a few instances in podcasts and things like this. And I literally threw away everything I had physically. So
Yeah,
that's pretty radical, but the thing is, it didn't feel like I had a choice. It wasn't like I sat there and I thought about it, and like it just happened through me, and I allowed it. It didn't feel like psychosis or anything like this. It felt like, I always say, it felt like I was brushing my teeth. It just felt very mundane. My body was moving, but I was, like, packing things and putting it in bags, and it didn't feel scary at all. It's almost like, oh, that's what needs to happen, even though it's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, I stopped everything. I quit my job. I left the apartment. I stopped everything I was doing until that moment. Maybe because everything I was doing on the surface looked like it worked, because I was making really good money. I was living in a really nice part of town. I was dating pretty girls, like all the stuff that you would expect, kind of like a guy, like successful guy, to have. That was the thing that I basically had on the surface. But inside, and this is something that took me maybe a little time to really come to terms with, inside I was falling apart, both mentally and physically. I was spiraling. I was unhappy. I felt empty. I was filling it up with all kinds of just like, just escapes of different kind. And I literally had physical ills. Like I had like a crazy sciatica for a long time that I couldn't remedy, and they prescribed morphine to me because it was really bad. I couldn't really walk. I'm sure you probably heard the story before, but that was the inciting moment, I think. And when I fully let go, and by the way, it wasn't like overnight, because then for years, a year and a half or 2 years, it's not like I all of a sudden, did that, and within a month, oh my God, I just started this other thing and just it became a huge success. No. It took a long time. The funny thing is that as this was happening, I think a year and a half after that, or 2 years after that, I think COVID hit. I don't remember exactly. I need to look at the timeline, but it was funny because the job that I was doing was basically put on, could not have been done during COVID. So like I would anyway lose the ability to do that job. So it's almost like the universe was like, this is a waste of time. Like, and it was not really going in the direction that what my higher calling maybe was. And I guess I answered, but it wasn't overnight. It's a long process of like allowing it. And yeah, there were like some pretty tough moments during that time. But the second that I made that decision and I fully let go, even the tough times felt like a journey. They felt meaningful. I only later kind of told people that I was close to, because that, it's not they wouldn't be, it wouldn't be fun for them to hear. But like I did spend a few days like in the park, just on the bench, like but it didn't feel that. It felt incredible. It felt like, oh, I'm on this journey, I'm doing this crazy thing, right? And maybe that is what opens it. And now that it's here and I am in this very strange position, and it is unique to some degree, because I'm basically claiming something that is very extravagant, very big, that has the potential to change human understanding, even though these ideas are out there. But I'm claiming something like, here, this is something we can do something with. And as this thing is unfolding and a lot of beautiful things are happening, and I'm meeting a lot of more and more incredible people, I do ask myself the question that I think may be hiding within your question, which is like, how do you, does it almost like it was always supposed to happen and now it's just unfolding. It's almost like now that I look back, I say, oh my God, everything I've ever done in my life, all the skills I've acquired, all the stuff that I was really cared about, they all are being, it all led to this. It's almost like perfect. So then I ask myself, are everybody living that? And it will undoubtedly open for them? Or do they have to truly let go like this in some form that makes sense in their world? The scientist in me says it's probably the latter. It's probably the former. Like there is no, because otherwise it makes my journey too special, which doesn't make sense, right? It's somebody said this once, and I'm by no means comparing myself to someone of that caliber. They just used Elon as an example to drive the point home. I don't consider myself to be on that level of any, not even close. But somebody asked somebody in the podcast, imagine how weird it is to be Elon. Imagine how weird it is. Because what are the chances that you were not going to think you're in a simulation? Because what are the chances that you're the richest person on earth, that you have these like 5 companies that compete with governments? What are the chances that it's you? But if it is you, then even in a just probabilistic universe, yes, somebody's going to be that. But throughout my life, I maybe as a kid, just like we all do that, I have like this sense of like specialness. Everybody has this, but it was definitely drummed out of me as I grew older. Like I never imagined that I would make a mark in something that I was doing, because I put a lot of hard work and whatever. But never in a million years did I actually thought that I would help move the dial in human understanding, which I'm now in the position of, at least I'm claiming the position of doing. And it not from an egoic perspective. It's just like it feels amazing that I get the opportunity to also put a spotlight now on other people that I think they're extremely valuable. That is the thing that is really fulfilling. But I have to say that unless I would, as life unfolded, it almost became this perfect trajectory that the more special my life became, the more value I'm automatically placing on the simpler things, like walking on the beach with with your loved ones. Like these simple moments are the ones that actually they ground you. They feel a lot more meaningful. But I think that if you just say that, because this is a point that can be very easily misconstrued, because very often people say this, right? They say, listen, just trust me, kid. Like, I made it. I made all the millions. I made all the money. I did all the thing. And in the end of the day, it's all about the simple things in life. Well, here's what is being missed here. Unless you would go through this crazy journey and doing all these things, you wouldn't be able to appreciate these simple things. It's not the same, because if you never tried, then just walking on the beach with family might be, fulfilling to some degree. But knowing that you are that person who tried and did and went and succeeded does put a you carry that meaning with you. So every single simpler thing become also more meaningful. I said this to a friend of mine once who's uber successful, and he kept on telling me this. It's like, it's just this. I just enjoy sitting and talking to people on the couch in a club, and that's my favorite thing. And I said, again, it's a good thing I'm saying about him, but still, I'm not going to mention the name. I said, brother, can we be like agree on the fact that that is because you had the success you've had? So you're full. You know you're capable. That you have that. You have the knowledge that you are capable. That is the thing that allows you to sit there on the couch and actually, because it's there. Nobody can take it away from you. So I think they go together. And I think that's why both of them are important. But it's true that the more things become more magical, if you just get into the magic, it starts. To be quite honest, there is a frightening component to it, because you realize it's like this enormous wave. I think Jordan Peterson made this point once, which is like it's this enormous wave that he's riding, and it can crash at any moment, and all that power will just crush him, right? And I think this is why always still keeping a lot of your eggs and your stock in the simpler things, like not detach yourself from the enjoyment and the meaning in simpler things, because if it does eventually crash or go through some turmoil, you can rely on the fact that you never left enjoying the simpler things, and in fact it put a larger emphasis on enjoying the simpler things, because you understand that but the magic has to kind of already be there. Does that touch your question, or I went it with the
yeah. But with your analytical mind, looking back, you would view it as or like that your essence or who you are already had that deep questioning aspect to it, which then was later on unboxed, or you stepped into who you were.
Maybe that, and then it gained a stage. So what I do requires a stage. Not every single thing requires a stage. I enjoy the interaction. Привет. Somebody in Russian. Man, haven't been following the news last 3 months or so. Can you give us a 5-minute update on what's new exciting happened recently? Thank you so much for the gift, by the way. Sure, I will do it shortly in one moment. Let me just finish this point, brother. Thank you so much. Wait, remind me the thrust of the central of the question, the last thing you just asked.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you needed
Oh yes.
this stage
Yeah.
to be able to step into who you are, but people don't necessarily have those type of hungers in.
Yeah.
So everyone is different.
So it's
can
interesting.
be.
It's interesting, and it's very difficult, maybe impossible, to convince anyone that what I'm saying is not just a cop out. But I do mean it, and I don't have another way of saying it. So I'm just going to say it, and if if you want to follow me there, then. But what I'm telling you is the truth. I don't have a thirst for it. I'm made for it. So it's like
yeah, that's badass.
you see, it's like it's a very fine line. So there's a difference. So I feel empowered by attention in a very unique way. I don't feel drunk on power. I feel good, and then that goodness makes me want to elevate others. That is true of me. Like I really my immediate impulse when I feel great is to make others feel great, because together we can feel even greater, right? And it sounds like one of these kind of like a thing you say just to sound good, but that's true of my inner operations, how I feel. So people have stage fright. I have the opposite of that. Like I just but I haven't stood on a stage in front of 200,000 people, so what do I know, right? Like I don't really know, but I've stood on stage in front of quite a few people. I've been like that, and every time that happened, I feel an empowerment. But that empowerment immediately makes me feel like it's not the admiration that I like about it, or the implied admiration. It's the fact that now we get to go together. Celebration. That's the part that is really fun, right? So now, because when you see other people enjoy, and they're in joy, it's amazing. Like and I do think that there is a different flavor of people liking attention that can actually run them down, because if they just get the fulfillment from the pay attention to me, like I want it on me, right? That's a different kind of thing. And then that's how people get really crushed in the industry, because the second they have a little bit less of that, it feels like whoa, like just the one thing that mattered just went away. And of course it's going to go away. It can't be. It goes up and down all the time. So the more, when that happens, you share that moment, the less you have attachment to it, because first of all, people will want to do it more because they also feel good about themselves. And when it subsides, it's just as beautiful. It's like there's the thrill of the up, and there's the thrill of the down, and then we're good. Like we're exactly where we started. So it speaks to something. It speaks to archetypes. I've spoken about this before on the show, where not everybody is designed to be ultra wealthy. Not because they can't work really hard, make a lot of money, because whatever is required to be ultra wealthy is not just the working hard. It's understanding how to be a certain way. And it's not that, because by the way, the second that you make a certain amount of money, like if you make I don't know, $200,000, $300,000 a year, you're good. You're good for life. If you keep doing that, you're good. If you're smart with money, you're never going to lack anything. So the difference between that and having $300 billion is not yes, you're going to be able to afford more toys or more whatever. You can buy islands or whatever. But do you really need that to be happy? No. But yeah, you need a certain amount to be comfortable. So it's not like being ultra wealthy is necessarily better than just making decent money, right? It's not better. It's just different. But it serves a function in the world. People that are truly like wealthy, if they're awake, if they're, and the more I get to know people like that, I see it, the more they're awake, they understand that's their role. They are designed to control a certain amount of power and a certain amount of capital. And if they're awake, they would also channel it towards good things in the world. This is why I keep saying that this idea that people have that just, wealthy equals evil or big equals evil, it's not. It's kind of like a child's way of saying it. It's not true. But also it goes to like archetypes and like what people are. Other people are just naturally so good with they just enter the room and everybody blossom. I don't know if you ever met people like that, but it's amazing. They just enter the room and everybody feels a relief. It just everybody can breathe. That's crazy. That's such a beautiful talent, but it's an invisible talent. But if they know it and they do it and they do it like they lean into it, they enjoy it, obviously. So is it selfish? Well, I don't know. Like they're just playing their role. There's something about what I was put here to do that required that stage, but the stage was not designed to draw just attention on me. It was designed for me to help people pay attention to something that actually makes their life better. And it's a constant thing that I'm learning, because it's not something I, necessarily know how to do the best in every situation. But it's clear to me that, because the reason it's clear to me is because every time I do it correctly, it feels light, it feels good. It's literally like God goes, there you go, yes, like that. And every time I do that and it's the right thing and people enjoy, then I feel I also get the rewards. I also feel that kind of, and the old psychology to all the the traumas of feeling what's the word, feeling like you're not enough, right? Like the imposter syndrome and all of that. So inadequate is the word I was looking for. All these inadequacies that we all feel to some degrees, for a long time they were intervening. They're like, no, like what, this voice that tells you, oh, you just, you just, it's bad because you just want attention. And then it took me a long time to see that it's not actually true of me. And then I allowed myself to fully step into it more and more and say, okay, no, like, I do care more about how others feel in this situation than just how it makes me feel, right? And if I know this to be a fact, then I don't really, that other voice inside can't really speak that much anymore, because I have no longer trepidation of anybody else thinking that, because I just know it's not true. So I just allow myself to just enjoy. And it took me a very long time to understand that part. I think it's the hardest part to learn, which is like you deserve it, so then you can do good with it. And I this is also why, by the way, I'm always very very particular about noticing what is it that others brought here as a gift. And the thing that I always try to de-emphasize is this attempt that people have to just have this special card, like this. Here's a special card, yeah. I feel absolutely blessed, and now that I am in the position that I am, and I know it's gonna just grow and grow and grow, my new passion is to be able to utilize this to help others climb out of where they are, so they can start sharing their gifts. And by the way, now that I'm doing this in a very tiny scale, I have a completely different appreciation, or a much larger appreciation, to the people that are doing that on a large scale. I'm now looking at people like Tony Robbins and people like that. I'm like, wow, man. Like literally these people are angels on earth. Like they wow, what they're doing. Because I've seen people transform because of him and people like him, right? And it's not a coincidence. People have a lot of very negative things to say sometimes about people like Tony Robbins, but like just look at like what happens. Forget about the people say, yeah, but the marketing is sure, but like you gotta sell the show, you gotta like, right, so people come and all of that. And and that there has to be a balance that needs to be stricken. Is that the right word here? But yeah, that's the thing I'm constantly looking for, the balance between how well I'm performing my role, and as long as I will stay loyal to that, then I know that everything else will fall into place. I actually don't have to worry about it at all. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Sorry, just a short reply.
Sure.
Because I have so many questions.
Sure.
Your journey, you and this situation in which we are in currently is so interesting. So many questions, but like a short reply. Yeah, I too appreciate. Yeah, sorry.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. I appreciate that aspect the most too, which you mentioned, that your journey was motivated towards getting to this state which can be shared, which is this uplifting thing that happens to others and which you feel. So I agree to that. So no, I view it similarly, that it's not necessarily selfish. If you're causing an uplifting thing to others, then you can feel that. I think it's not selfish in that context. But please, yeah, I will not ask further questions. Instead of that, please reply to the guy who wanted a summary of the current standings of the experiments. And
No, first of all, I really appreciate your question. It's just that, I'm also trying to like stay mindful of time. To your question, programmist is nas wait okay, my Russian is like so rusty reading. Programmist is San Francisco, so the programmer from San Francisco in Russian. Thank you so much for the donation. To your question, I mean, there's obviously, I don't know when you stopped listening, so it's kind of hard to say what you've missed, but in general, the most recent developments are, we've done an extended state 5 hours with the molecule intravenously. We did a bunch of tests. I think we found something interesting with some brain scans. It seems that the language language processing seems to be operating when we're looking into the laser by looking at the brain scan versus just looking at some light or some pattern, trying to make a pattern out of something that isn't there. That seems to be very significant. We worked with Mark Sokol from Falcon Space, who's working on trying to work on anti-gravity technology in New Jersey, and we did some tests in his lab. It was amazing. We're definitely going to go back. We are in kind of late stages of post-production of the film. Very excited about it. We're going to have some stuff to share very soon. And what else from the big things? I mean, I started an organization called Code of Reality, which is actually the investigative arm. My partner, David Carter, and I are hammering at it. And Carter and our software developer, Carmelo, built something called Veilbreak AI, which you can check out already, but it's going to be fully functional on Monday. And people can go on there, share the experiments, share information, and it's going to be, if you want, completely anonymous. So we're creating the infrastructure for the next iteration of this project. And I think those are the biggest points. I'm not sure if there's a lot more that how far you stop paying attention, but those are the big ones so far. And thank you so much for your attention and interest in the project and for your donation. And one final thing I would say, Daniel, to your point, just to kind of maybe tie it, there's my isolation that I felt for a long time. You got it, brother. Had to do with the fact that ultimately I felt like I'm not bringing value, and I can't. I have all these ideas. I think that something, I have all these crazy ideas about reality and all that stuff. but it never became anything because I never really pushed it into a place where it could become something. But the second I guess I let go of everything in the old life and I started trying to do this new thing, then obviously I gave it a real chance. And the second that I figured something out, it gave me this confidence of like, oh, so my ideas are not just crazy. There's something there. There's something there. And that verification from reality gave me the courage to, step more and more and more into this role. But it's still obviously always a journey that I'm always going through. One line actually I mentioned Tony Robbins that always stands out to me when I think about this difference between trying to just do everything for you or by yourself and then trying to aim towards some kind of a us going together as as humanity. He used to say there's only so much you can feel by yourself, and I think that's very true.
Yeah.
Daniel, thank you so much, brother. You're such a pleasure, man, and thank you so much for staying so late for you. Everybody, Daniel, bro, you're always a delight, truly. I wish you would come more often and jump on more often. RNS Laser asking if I got a message. No, not yet, brother. I don't check my messages every day. I just have way too many things to attend to. I will check it maybe on Sunday. Saturdays I usually don't respond to anything, but Sunday I will definitely look into it. I appreciate you texting. And if you guys want to follow me across platforms, it will be Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram. It will be Goller Danny on X. It will be LaserX83 on Twitch and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts on YouTube. You can also check out my new show on Spotify, 0 to 1 with Danny Goller. The full name is 0 to 1 with Danny Goller, from Earthbound Minds to Cosmic Citizens. Check out, there's new episodes are coming up very soon. Check out the merch on YouTube, where you can get your Human First line and Core line, Code of Reality. Human First is my campaign to encourage us to look at each other as humans first before any political affiliation or any ideas about reality. And I think we need more of that now, more than ever. And I think it's wonderful that a lot of people are actually on board with this. So again, doesn't mean that humans are first. It means that human first, treat each other in the world as humans, humanely first. And this also helps the channel tremendously. Also, you can sign up for the membership program on YouTube, which will give you early access to all my content, access to my weekly lives for members only that are different than the daily lives. Join that. It's a lot of fun. We do go much deeper dives. And if you sign up from the second tier and up, you will, and just email me in the email listed there. I will send you an invite to our monthly Zoom calls. They're also a lot of fun. What else? Check out our Code of Reality website, codeofreality.com, codeofreality.com, where we have the lasers, the protocols, and everything else. And from Monday, you can check out veilbreak.ai. I mean, it's already operational, but it's going to be fully fledged on Monday. Great progress. If you still want to donate to the film, definitely this will be received with gratitude. We're working on the post-production now. We're in final stages, and making a movie is not easy. Aaron Venden, the director, is just so amazing with everything he's doing. He's creating magic for you guys. Aaron Venden and Chris Paris are producer. Chris, love you, brother. With Yozua, our cinematographer. David Carter, my partner, Code of Reality. I feel truly blessed to do everything we're doing. And what else am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting something. Oh, come join our Discord, of course. Incredible group of people sharing these ideas. You can find the links to Discord on TikTok on the link tree, and on YouTube on the main page, third link from the top. Or if you can't find it through that, just go to Discord and find Code of Reality, Core, COR. That's our Discord. You should come and join. Oh, so if you want to donate to the film, in the links, I think the second link under the description of this video on YouTube, right here, if you click on the bottom in the description, you'll find the second link is the trailer for the film, The Discovery. And in the description of that, you can find the GoFundMe page where you can donate. And by the way, if you donate over $1,000, which, yes, it's a lot, but if you can do that, And of course, never do that if you can't, only if it's not a problem for you. But if you donate over $1,000, you will be added to the group, to the list of people who would see the movie all together for the first time ever in history. I think that's pretty cool. And if not, don't worry, we'll make sure that the film is streaming everywhere and you're going to see it. So, with that being said, I really appreciate our incredible moderator, Guru, and also Chris. Thank you so much for donating memberships today. I really appreciate you for that. And Guru, thank you so much for always being on top of it. Our moderators, everybody on YouTube and on Discord, without them, this would not be as easy. And I want to thank the audience members for always coming, asking questions, probing, debating, disagreeing. I love all of that. Thank you so much for making this channel what it is. It is truly fulfilling to do this, everybody together. Could answer a question. First time ever donated on this TikTok. Hold on, let me see. I definitely don't want to ignore that. Let me look at that question. About to pack a small dose on my Smash and continue listening. Haven't we found micro amounts of DMs in our systems that might help understand VR simulation? Yeah. Good question. Hold on, let me see if there was not something else that you asked. I definitely don't want you to feel slighted. Souls are who we are, and we get to choice and plan. I'm just going through the questions, then I will answer your question, I promise. Let me see here. There was a lot of comments on TikTok that I just ignored, basically. Yeah, roll-ups. Good to see you, brother. Shout out. I'm glad you came. Thank you so much. Are you a cult leader? Funny. Taking quantum theory, string theory, and intentions. I think we all are connected. Wouldn't disagree with that. Living independently to experience the most, yet we all connect to singular higher power. Which is light, the main frame, the main computer, the main string puller? I don't know, but we're all one. Sure. In your opinion and mine. Souls are who we are and we get a choice. Yeah, we basically agree on that as well. Plan and we come back to play simulators like an AI repeating sequence of grow and learn. Beautiful. Crazy we can just talk to you. Thank you for me. Oh, I mean, that's a pleasure. What are your chances we are born at the most influential time in history? That is a pretty wild one, I'll be honest. That is a pretty wild one. I made it to millions and walk on the beach with my fam every night. Amazing, Dimitri. You need to peek behind the curtain to get appreciation. Going through all the comments all at once. It's been known 250,000 K a year is the line of happiness. Yeah, I've heard about this. Anything after that is materialistic. Yeah, well, it can be, and you know, if you have the capacity to just keep working and that's what you want, you derive meaning from actually working. Yeah, but you're right. There was a study that showed that anything above, I think it was $250,000 a year, is just you become less happy. But there is a poverty line beneath which you're also unhappy. So there's a happy middle right there. That is very true. You'd be so freaking happy and would give exactly. I'd give 40% of people who need it. I wish I could donate to the needy. Greatly gives me joy. What up, Amanda? That's beautiful. Haven't you found? Okay, so now to your question, roll-ups. Haven't they found deeds in our system that might help understand we are in a simulation? So I don't necessarily if it would imply that necessarily, but yeah, we know for a fact that our body makes deems. Our lungs and some other parts of the body synthesize it, both NN and 5-MeO. That is correct. I don't know if it necessarily points directly to it being us living in simulation. I mean, I think that is correct for other reasons. Package mold. That's funny. I hope that answered your question. All right. Laban, how are you, brother? Got to jump off, actually. Sending love, my brother. All right, everybody. Love you. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Peace and love. Have a good night, everybody, and see you tomorrow. Ciao. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night, Daniel.